Why me? Why did this happen? I don't want to die. I want to live. I don't know when it started. The world has changed. Wormholes have appeared one after another in various places. Crawl out of it all sorts of otherworldly creatures. The human world is on the verge of collapse. In this desperate situation, they appeared. Fight to the death against ferocious, otherworldly creatures. Their presence allowed the planet to survive, which was on the verge of extinction. And the human beings who survived also ushered in a boom in exploring the world. They all have a particularly innovative name. Hunter. His name is Chung Xiaoyu. Has an unremarkable appearance. After graduating from high school, he didn't have any skills. Choose to be a hunter as a part-time job. It's different from everyone else. He didn't become a hunter because he liked it. It's to get some Hunters Association subsidies. Barely supported the mother's high hospitalization fees. The level 1 dungeon is the weakest dungeon in this world. Ordinary people can brush alone without bringing a nurse. Cleared the game unscathed. And Chung Xiaoyu is scarred in this copy every time. As a result, he received a well-known title in the hunter world. The weakest weapon of mankind is a construction site. A gate from another world buzzes around the construction site. The hunters received the news of the crusade and came to respond. Chung Xiaoyu is no exception. Today is still a humble day to go abroad. He is the worst in strength, but he is more likely to be remembered by others. For him, participating in team battles can make up for the difference in your own strength to the greatest extent. It's also a quick way to get paid. And the people who participated in this crusade mission. There is also a B-level nurse who usually has a good relationship with him. In the crowd, Lao Song volunteered. Directly carried the banner. For those with the highest rank present. Naturally, the crowd is meaningless. They all agreed. That's it. Consists of 17 hunters. The D-rank otherworldly raid team completes the team as a team. Approaching. An elderly uncle said to Chung Xiaoyu, "Just follow along. Don't get hurt." Then everyone entered the light curtain. Chung Xiaoyu exhaled a long breath before settling down. You have to do a good job today. Suddenly sparks erupted in the dungeon. Meet on the battleground. A wide variety of skills. All kinds of weapons are in awe of this dungeon. And not surprisingly, Chung Xiaoyu was injured again. As a friend, Xiaoxi is distressed and helpless. He didn't understand that Chung Xiaoyu was so weak. Why do you have to be a hunter? Chung Xiaoyu was bitter for a while. Watch as everyone easily solves the monsters one by one. Contrast your scarred self. He knew very well that he was not suitable for the profession. But he didn't have a choice. Only persevere. Only the mother who was lying in the hospital was saved. Monsters drop items when killed. And the uncle holds the glowing gem in his hands. Although it's only a C-grade magic crystal, the price is also more than 60,000. For Chung Xiaolu, C-rank demonic beasts were out of reach for him. Scarred, he only got one of the lowest level of magic crystals. It's a big player. You see, there's also an entrance in front of the player. Is another dungeon within a dungeon. That is, double dungeons. I can't imagine that it really exists. Legendary double dungeons. Uncle released a nourishing energy. Hit the cave. I saw that the cave was bottomless. The experienced old pine has a hunch that there will be an ultimate boss inside. Originally, this situation had to be reported to the association. But that's it. The final boss may be snatched up by other hunters. Considering that there will be a danger to life. Lao Song, who was the captain, proposed that the 17 hunters present vote. Decision. The vote was 8 against 8. The key vote fell on Chung Xiaoyu. Her hand holding the low-grade hedron trembled slightly. For my younger sister who is still in school. For the sake of the mother lying in the hospital. The crowd slowly walked into this bottomless passage. At the end of the passage are 2 huge beauties. Tall and magnificent building. It made the players on the scene shudder. Lao Song slowly pushed open the giant door. Say to the multitude, there may be danger next. If you're afraid, go back. There are strong people taking the lead. Naturally, the crowd was a newborn calf. Not afraid of tigers. Follow Lao Song to break the gate. What catches your eye is a huge palace. Torches that burn with flames. Titan soldiers with weapons. Statue of a goddess holding a musical instrument. The most special thing is the stone statue of the king sitting in the middle of the venue. And next to these statues there is a stone slab. Illustrates the regulation of this dungeon. The law of the Cathanon. First, worship God. Second, praise God. Third, prove your faith. And if you break the law, you won't be able to live. Get out of here. Chung Xiaoyu suddenly felt that this temple was full of wrong. The surroundings are surprisingly quiet. The gate behind him was windless. He startled everyone. A grumpy guy scolded. He's fed up with this eerie place. He was just about to push open the giant door. This is one of the idols. Hand up and knife down. Correct this blasphemous man on the spot. The crowd panicked. The stone statue is alive. It's just a prefecture-level dungeon. You must know that the strength of that grumpy little brother is also at the prefecture level. In this way, he was killed by the janitor in one hit. And there are countless such forces in the field. At this time, Chung Xiaoyu remembered what Xiaoxi had just said. He looked back with a look of horror. The pupils of the stone statue king, who were originally immovable, suddenly shone brightly. Look in front of him. Cheng Xiaoyu's eyes were suddenly full of fear. He is often in the midst of life and death. I know it all at once. This pair of strange prodigies is about to bring devastating disaster. He yelled at the crowd. Get down, all of them. As soon as the words fell, the stone statue's eyes glowed strangely. With a squeaky sound, a plasma laser swept through the big change. Those who didn't have time to dodge instantly evaporated from the world. Fortunately, there was Chung Xiaoyu's shout. Most of the talents survived. Although Lao Song survived, but he also lost a hand because of it. It was the first time in his life that he had felt such fear. He has participated in several B-class dungeon raids. There are no monsters there that can kill in one hit. It's far more terrifying than a B-class dungeon. He estimated that the stone statue in front of him was A grade, probably still S-class. And then they remembered the temple law. First, worship God. And this God may be that he has time to regret it now. Do they still cry out for help? I thought this was just an ordinary Earth-level temple. But an S-class god appeared. The glow from his eyes was enough to destroy everything. God, as the highest-ranking old song present, lost his left arm in this laser strafing. Now there's something that baffles them. Originally, I thought it was just a prefecture-level dungeon. I only brought 3 nurses to form a team. One was hit by a laser. Not even a corpse remained. One was so frightened that he couldn't possess his body. Even Xiaoxi, who is a B-level nurse, can't stop holding her head and trembling. At this moment, the stone statue of the king has also begun. A gleaming prodigy watched over all the players present. They can only stay where they are at the moment. Don't dare to act rashly. There are always guys who are not afraid of death. As an assassin, he seemed confident in his speed. He took a deep breath. The muscles in the legs are bruised. Rush to the giant gate at lightning speed. It's almost there. At this moment, the giant insect of the idol buzzed. In the stunned expressions of the crowd, the world has evaporated. The hearts of the people collapsed. These monsters are ridiculously strong. As long as they want to be effortless, you can wipe out this group of players. What made Chung Xiaoyu feel strange was that they didn't do that. You can kill, but you can't kill it. And once close to the door guard, the stone statue will attack. Moving the idol emits X-rays. Their attacks all seem to follow the rules. I see. The law of the Cathanon. The first is to worship God. Come to think of this. Chung Xiaoyu slowly stood up. Uncle thought he was crazy. But look at the determined look in his eyes. It's not like you're going to die. Chung Xiaoyu's movements quickly attracted the attention of the idol. His eyes sparkled. And Chung Xiaoyu quickly squatted down. The light turned into a wisp of smoke and slowly disappeared. Cheng Xiaoyu understood the meaning of the first law. He hurriedly yelled at the crowd. Everyone bowed to the idol. Everyone thought he was crazy. He even asked them to worship this god who kills people without blinking. Can be seen as Xiao Yu's determined eyes. It seems that he knows something. And there's no better way to do it right now. To save lives. The crowd reluctantly offered their knees to the evil god. Like believers, they wait for the Lord's approval. And the original glowing eyes of the Gargoyle King also dimmed. There was a sudden, deathly silence. A moment later, the statue opened its mouth and smiled eerily. This temple is full of weirdness. When the crowd broke in, it has been marked as a sacrifice. Blasphemers will be judged by God. The only solution may be the inscription full of words. They interpreted the first question. Bow down to God. The crowd knelt down. This God who kills without blinking. He saw the crowd kneeling before him. The evil god was very proud. Smile brightly. The strange expression made everyone feel creepy. But it seems that the effective attack stopped. Thought it was nothing. An uncle was the first to stand up. Seeing that he was not dead, the crowd slowly got up. But in the next second, a rumbling sound sounded. The stone statue, which had been unable to shake the thunder, slowly stood up. Hit the ground with one foot. The whole ground collapsed. The stone statue stood in front of everyone when it stood up. It's like a tall mountain. The protagonist is still the protagonist. Moment of truth. He remembered the laws of the temple again. Article 2. Praise God. A Christian stepped forward. For the language of praise to the Lord. He's very good at it. He took out the cross on his chest and meditated on it. But he didn't know. He praised other gods. Smack. Directly step on the meat puree. The crowd panicked. Crazy running around. People are like ants who are ruthlessly trampled by the giant gods. An uncle in green ran into the corner. Thought it would be a little safer here. From behind him, there is the Titan soldier. Hand up and knife down. Directly divided him symmetrically. The venue suddenly exploded. There is a barefoot immortal in front. Later, there is a sword-drawn divine soldier. Attack as soon as you get close to them. In a panic. Cheng Xiaoyu attention. Only stone statues holding musical instruments will not attack. He hurriedly told everyone. Move to the stone statue with the instrument. Sure enough, when Lao Song approached a stone statue with a trumpet, the stone statue is activated. Blow his horn. More and more players are finding stone statues holding musical instruments. When he was safe, his eyes were full of fear. The next second broke down and cried. Cheng Xiaoyu and Xiaoxi are still desperately looking for the stone statue. They came to a stone statue holding a drum. The stone statue did not respond. It seems that only when one is alone, the stone statue will play music. Cheng Xiao also did not hesitate to leave the god of the valley to Xiaoxi. Run fast on your own to find the next stone statue. And at this time, the king of the stone statues found out. Soon, Cheng Xiaoyu found one. By this time, the giant foot had smashed into his head. With a snap, he stepped directly towards Cheng Xiaoyu. Fortunately, Xiaoyu avoided it with a sliding step. But when she looked up, he found that he saw the shield as a musical instrument. Without hesitation, he raised his shield. It smashed directly into Cheng Xiaoyun with a bang. And he was strong-willed from life and struggled to climb forward. He often brushes shoulders with death. You can always grasp the thread that hangs by a thread. And this time he once again caught the praise. Slowly drifting through this temple. The movement of the stone statue also stopped. Konishi hurriedly ran over. The scene in front of him made him cover his mouth and cry. Although Cheng Xiaoyu survived by luck, but he lost both legs. How serious is the sin of trespassing in the temple? The original team of 17 people was left with only 6 people in less than a moment. 2 others were seriously injured. And God doesn't seem to give up. He stretched out his claws. A stone platform rises slowly from the ground. It looks like an altar. He mapped the 3rd rule of the temple. Prove your faith. This is probably the final test. My king slowly drew his sword fingers. A recitation to the temple where they trespassed. Since sacrifices are needed, that can only be blamed by him as the captain. And Lao Song did not shirk. He walked slowly to the altar with all his responsibilities. When he stepped into the altar, a burning flame suddenly erupted behind him. But Lao Song was not sent. I don't know what's going on. Chung Xiaoyu had no choice but to ask everyone to help him carry him to the altar to check. When the three of them stepped into the altar, 3 more flames erupted. They get it. People seem to be the opportunity to activate the fire. When everyone stands on the altar, small flames turn into raging fires. One by one, it breeds positive energy. Slide along the grooves in the ground towards the edges. The blue flame flows into the blue flame with all the energy. The huge door behind him opened, and the white gang slowly disappeared. All of the titans were activated. It moved, slowly approached the altar, and they found, just look at them. They'll just stop moving. Look away from them, and they will move forward. It's the same principle as the game I played as a child. And this suffocating gaze, it often breaks down the heart of a person who is fragile at heart. A girl shouted frantically. Out of the altar, a red flame was extinguished on the altar. Oddly enough, he ran out safely. Chung Xiaoyu fell into deep thought. What the hell is going on? The blue flame is extinguished every once in a while. And when the flame on the altar leaves one, it goes out one another. Every time a door is extinguished, it closes a little. Rule 30. The so-called proof of your faith. It is under fear and threat. Face the sweet temptation. Still able to prove their faith. So this open door is a trap. All that is seen is false hope. But even so, under the temptation of fear and sweetness, people prefer this naked sweet trap. The fat man said sorry to Chung Xiaoyu. Throw off Chung Xiaoyu and run away. Chung Xiaoyu was so anxious that everyone didn't move. Don't fall for it. If the number of people is decreasing, there are blind spots. We're all going to die. Just keep staring at the statues until the blue flames are all extinguished. Through Chung Xiaoyu's performance these times, Lao Wang is already impressed by Chung Xiaoyu. Thanks to Chung Xiaoyu, he solved the puzzle. He agreed with Chung Xiaoyu's speculation. But he was more afraid of the passage of time. The gate will be closed. He's just an ordinary person. He also has family. He didn't want to die. He said sorry to Chung Xiaoyu, left the altar, completely ignored Chung Xiao and the heart-rending fire. The altar lost another flame of life. The titan that has lost its surveillance slowly walked towards the altar. And Lao Wang's departure will kill those who remain. When faced with the choice between life and death, how will you choose? It's about carrying out your faith, or run to the open door. More people may be like them. The mind has long been filled with fear. They run to the open door despite the rules. And the worst thing is the people who stay. Now there are only 3 people left on the altar. Lao Song had already understood the meaning of France at this moment. As long as one person remains, then the door will not be closed. And Lao Song firmly left the opportunity to the 2 young people. And Chung Xiaoyu has lost both feet. Can't walk around. Lao Song had no choice but to entrust Ching Xiao and Xiao Shi. But Kanishi sat on the ground with his feet limp and couldn't move. In order to give Chung Xiao treatment, consumed all his mana. Chung Xiaoyu didn't say much. Let Lao Song leave him with Xiao Xie. It's cruel to stay. But at this time, only Lao Song was the only one who could move. And he could only take one. Chung Xiaoyu. Take out the first-level gem he desperately obtained. Tell Nozomi. I told you I wanted to invite you to dinner. You take this and eat it first. Wait to get out of here. I'll go to you first and get the rest of the money. Xiao Shi just wanted to speak. Was slapped on the back of the head by an uncle. Directly on the body. Time is running out. They are not allowed to think. He glanced at Chung Xiaoyu, after making a final farewell. Resolutely left the altar. Chung Xiaoyu watched them leave. Watched them walk out of the temple gates. Her hanging heart was relaxed. He was left alone on the altar. The Titans slowly approached the altar with their weapons in hand. But he's Chung Xiaoyu. Ah, even if it's death, it's going to die vigorously. He took up his weapon and pointed it at the enemy. He took a deep breath, ready to die. One of the giant soldiers swung his spear, directly pierced Chung Xiaoyu's body. The powerful pain directly made him spit blood from his mouth. It's not over yet. The sharpshooter also picked up his spear. Suddenly provoked Chung Xiaoyu. It slammed down on the altar with a thud. The trauma was severe, and he couldn't move. She shed tears of intransigence. He was not reconciled. He didn't want to die like that. How could it be okay? I'm not a saint. Someone else has a family. But he also has too much to carry. He didn't want to leave regrets like that. Get out of this world. If only he could be given another chance. Just when the knife was about to fall on Chung Xiaoyu, a pop-up pops up. You've got a secret mission. The condition for the completion of the courage of the weak. The haze finally came to fruition. Xiaoyu found that time seemed to stand still. Around the side, the sword of the divine soldier seemed to freeze. What's going on with this mosquito? Where did the voice come from? You have become a player. Whether to accept what it means. Time is running out to accept what is given to you. If you refuse to accept it, after 0.02 seconds, your heart will stop beating. Acceptable or not. Look at the options in front of you. Chung Xiaoyu knew that he didn't have to pick now. He used his last breath of strength. I accept this qualification. You are welcome to become a player. Suddenly, Xiaoyu's body flashed. Shines brightly. Under the watchful eye of the evil king. Disappeared under the gaze of the gods. Why me? Why did this happen to me? I don't want to die. I want to live. He woke up. He gasped for air. It was like a dream, but the pain of suffocation was so real. She looked out the window. This is where. The two men in black in the room were uninvited. He handed Chung Xiaoyu a business card. From the mouth of the black. Chung Xiaoyu has been sleeping for 3 days. Old Song survived. But without an arm, he may not be someone else. After Xiaoxi came out, I was traumatized in my heart. The man in black was about to continue. Others. Chung Xiaoyu interrupted him. For those who abandon their teammates in order to stay alive. He felt a chill. This time there are double dungeons. It can be described as a heavy casualty. Only 6 members remained in the 17-man team. After receiving a report from a survivor. Only to find that everything was gone. Only Chung Xiaoyu, who was lying unconscious on the altar, was left. If it is a survivor's statement, there is a slight incoherence. Or the remains of the victims were not found at the scene. They couldn't believe it. Xiaoyu's miracle survived. Let them not help but doubt. Chung Xiao has completed the second awakening. The hunter's stats are set when they awaken. However, there are also very few cases where prey will awaken again. There are also limits beyond oneself. Upgrade from C to A. When AB grade is promoted to an S grade. They took out the magic measuring machine. Let Chung Xiaoyu put his hand on it. Drip, drip, drip. However, the test results made people laugh and cry. Even the lowest level of combat power has 70. But Chung Xiaoyu is a scumbag. The test caused Xiaoyu to be just an ordinary person. The man in black walked away with his bag, leaving Chung Xiaoyu with a confused face. I thought I had really awakened my superpowers. He was curious, though. Why don't those people care about this pop-up window in front of them? Can't they see it? He found that the severed leg turned out to be intact. The heart stabbed before death also did not leave any scars. He wondered if he was in reality or a dream. He clicked on the pop-up window. 3 notifications popped up at once. There is one more unconfirmed message. But Chung Xiaoyu said when he confirmed. The news unfolded in front of him. Daily missions become the preparation of the strong. When you have not completed a daily, penalties will be imposed accordingly. Chung Xiaoyu rolled his eyes. What an international joke is this? I'm a patient. Who has the strength to do this? Let's get some sleep first. And time waits for no one. The working time of Chung Xiao and sleeping passed quickly. And when time runs out, the system directly notified him. If you don't complete the dailies, you'll be moved to the penalty zone. In Chung Xiao and hazy sleepiness, the mountains shook for a while. The ground in his hand turned into sand. Kung Fu for a while. He teleported to the desert. And at this time, there was a restlessness behind him. Chung Xiaohe glanced back with fear on his face. A giant desert centipede was staring at him covetously. A pop-up pops up. Punishment quests. Survival goal. Survive within the allotted time. The allotted time is 4 hours. What kind of fairy system is this? There are so many. Dailies also have a time limit. And failed to complete the task within the allotted time will face systematic punishment. The male protagonist was still asleep in the comfortable bed for the last second. The next second is teleported to the desert of this hot dog. Behind. And a giant centipede. And the further you go, the more giant centipedes there are. And such a devil's punishment should last for 4 hours. Fortunately, when he was about to be swallowed alive by the abyssal maw, the system notifies you that the penalty task has been completed. Smack. Cheng Xiaoyu returned from hell to heaven. He gasped for air. This punishment task is scared. I haven't had time to claim the mission completion prize yet. He collapsed. Fell asleep. After waking up, the first thing he does is do the task. Don't do the task with a life. After the last punishment, he knew that this thing in front of him was not a fantasy. Only by following his demands can life be better. And every time you complete a task, you will be rewarded. The reward will also directly increase your own strength. In addition to this, there are also stats that can increase stats. Points and random boxes, object status abilities. The list of items is like actually playing a game. And this time he opened a key from the box. Fast track keys to the dungeon. Follow the prompts. He came to the entrance of the subway. If it is activated, radiating a bright light, an entrance to the dungeon then appears. Enter the light day. It's a world of another dimension. He can see people from another dimensional world. And people from another dimension can't see him. For a moment he panicked. The last time I stumbled into a dungeon. Leave him with a shadow that will last a lifetime. He wanted to run but couldn't. The system told him. The final boss must be destroyed in order to leave. Chung Xiao was forced to do so. You can't even deal with a first-level mob. He even wants him to destroy the final boss. Also single brush. No wet nurse. Looking at the eerie passages, he broke out in a cold sweat. But that's the end of it. The wolf's den and the tiger's den also have to break in. Soon he was in danger. A monster opens its massive mouth, rushing to the face. Chung Xiaoyu hurriedly dodged. I don't know if I can beat it, but he managed to survive from the evil god. You'll have to try it anyway. The wolf ran at him quickly. Chung Xiao rolled over and dodged. Somewhat surprised. My body has become so light. It seems that he is indeed so strong. His fist was pounding. Smack. Hammer straight into the waves. Beat the giant wolf away in an instant. Even the iron gate was deformed. Chung Xiaoyu couldn't believe that he had such a person, but it didn't do much damage to the wolf. Normal attacks do not inflict fatal damage on Warcraft. In a hurry, he remembered the weapon. Open your inventory. Empty inventory. That weapon, please stand out. Chung Xiaoyu pulled out his weapon. Hit the hammer on the head. Successfully killed the wolf. The United States is not a weapon of 15,000 yuan. The lethality is so great. With a weapon, his confidence skyrocketed. Even if two came at the same time, he is also fearless. He raised his weapon and instantly gave it to him. For him, these little monsters in front of me and those guys in the temple are simply too weak. Just the other day, Chung Xiaoyu is still a scumbag who can't even beat a first-level monster. And now 2 level 1 mobs appear at the same time. He also has to fight. By killing mobs, he was promoted by 1 level. All attribute values are added by 1. Although it is not known how much combat power these values have added specifically. But the strength is only increased to 20 though. But it gave him a qualitative improvement. He gradually became aware of the so-called players. Do dailies constantly. Keep playing and upgrading. He can really get stronger. He remembered that monsters drop hedrons when they die. He walked inside the giant wolf corpse to inspect it. It's not the same as the previous dungeons. This time the fall was missed. He also discovered the system store. He wanted to go in and take a look. But I was told by the system that the level was insufficient. Only items can be sold to wolf fangs. He received 20 gold coins. I just don't know what this gold coin can do. While he was researching these strange system stores, a giant wolf slowly walked out of the darkness. Numerous pairs of eyes followed. Countless giant wolves walked out, and Chung Xiaoyu had no fear in his eyes. After all, he was the one who died once. He took the knife and fearlessly stabbed the blind group. A giant wolf. Suddenly, a giant wolf bit him from behind. He slashed his sword behind him, but the wolves soon surrounded him. His eyes changed. Sparks along the way. Kill the ferocious wolves one by one. He didn't know if he would ever be able to go home. But he knew. If he gives up here, his death will be meaningless. Only when he becomes stronger can he protect the people he loves. With the killing of several giant wolves, his rank rose rapidly. The wolves, who were originally relying on the strength of the crowd, actually flinched a little at this moment. I don't care about the injuries on my body. There is also a gradual decrease in body temperature. Cheng Xiaoyu took the sword and slowly walked into the remaining wolves. Hold the handle of the knife tightly in your hand. Rush to the wolves again. It's another fierce fight. He managed to kill the wolf. He gasped for air from exhaustion. Inability to hold the sword in his hand. Let him scratch on the ground. He came to another area. Look up. It's a dense bunch of giant wolves again. He took a deep breath. Bite the bullet. It looks like another tough battle. After a fight, once again, he wiped out a great wave. And the blades of the longsword are broken due to overuse. But he had expected it. Even with expensive weapons several more times. It will also become like this. I was ruthless before. Purchased a weapon for more than 3,000 pieces. It went well when hunting mobs at first. When you encounter the final boss. All at once. And the final loot was 3 first-level magic crystals. I lost my trouser pocket. So even if it's difficult. Chung Xiaoyu also chose to be barehanded. Break the siege of one monster after another. By slaughtering countless giant kings. He received the title. A lone wolf when dealing with beast-type monsters. All stats will be increased by 40%. This is tantamount to a big deal for Chung Xiaoyu. In addition to these, he also received 34 wolf teeth. 2 short swords. Traveler costumes were also obtained on return. He thought, since I got it when I returned, I have gained a lot today. Let's go back first. And this thought was just in his head. She held it when returning. No, you can't just go back. I finally found a place where I could fight monsters and level up. I don't know when I'll be able to run into it again. You can't just go back. After a moment of hesitation, he resolutely stuffed the returned 10 back items. Slowly walking into this uncharted territory. Obtain items by killing the mob Chung Xiaoyu. When you return, you can use it to end this difficult solo task. But it may not be possible to encounter a place where you can fight monsters and upgrade like this. After a moment of hesitation, he resolutely stuffed the returned 10 back. Question dragged his tired body slowly into the passage. The further down you encounter, the stronger the monster becomes. With the continuous slashing of Warcraft, Chung Xiaoyu is also upgrading little by little. Fighting Warcraft becomes easier with each upgrade. He could gradually feel his body getting stronger. Chung Xiaoyu also found that this place was different from ordinary dungeons. Monsters can be reborn endlessly. It didn't feel like he was fighting with a living being. It's more like fighting monsters in some game mode. Just figure out their fixed patterns. You can guess where they're going to come from. The monkey fell from above. A cat will rush out on the left and right. After predicting the enemy's attack, can easily kill enemies. Face recurring enemies. Chung Xiaoyu only had calmness in his eyes. Hand up and knife down. Then the monster can be easily solved. Chung Xiaoyu also discovered each monster will have a corresponding name and color on its head. The white name of Warcraft is relatively far away. Orange is equal or strong with him. Red is a very strong enemy. The dragon he first encountered turned from orange to white. Thus, Chung Xiaoyu is in a visibly visible condition, although it has become stronger. But the cold air coming from below still made Chung Xiao not shiver. He could clearly feel that there was something terrifying underneath. He fell into deep thought. Kill mobs. It is no longer possible to level up. Continue pointless fights. This forgotten sword. Then there is only one option. It's about facing your fears. Chung Xiaoyu slowly walked down the stairs. The stairs that I usually walk on. The moment made her feel longer than usual. Walking to the next floor is a swamp. Broken mirrors. Overgrown. The wind is gusting. There was a rustle from the darkness. Before Chung Xiaoyu could react, something moved lightning fast on the ground. Chung Xiaoyu hasn't seen anything yet. And suddenly he appeared in front of him. He hurriedly used the long sword in his hand to block the powerful force. Bounced him out. Bang against the wall. A mouthful of blood spurted in an instant. Fall to the ground to quench your thirst. Worse. His 15,000 pieces were hit like that just now. It's just a big loss. There is also a constant spill of debris. He threw it down exhausted. A wry smile. I thought my level was already a lot higher. I didn't expect to be witnessed by the orange monster. It made him so unbearable. The serpent opened its mouth. 2 large steel teeth are exposed. Still spitting letters. It seems that the prey in front of him is sick. Chung Xiaohu gasped for breath. The spirit is highly vigilant. The hand holding the broken sword. One transforms into a dagger-holding position. I can't think of the first time I brushed the boss. That's when I got a picture. It made her so unbearable. The 10,000 to 5 long sword instantly turned into a short sword. Look at this guy's scales. You can't get into it with a weapon. Not to mention that using fists has not given Chung Xiao the kung fu to think. The serpent spreads. His huge mouth rushed to his face. Chung Xiaoyu slid his broken sword into the snake's body. But it's like scraping him. Not only did it not hurt him, and managed to provoke him to anger, the serpent shook its massive body. A mess. Suddenly, a snake body was thrown in front of Chung Xiaoyu's eyes. He hurriedly blocked it with his broken knife. But it was flicked away by the snake's tail. Then the snake body was quickly cast. Xiaoyu. Soon he was surrounded by water. The range is getting smaller and smaller. Just strangle him. Powerful extrusion. Made Chung Xiaoyu breathless. Struggling to squeeze it out. Squatting on the ground and gasping for air. I thought I was so angry. At least a little hard-hitting one. I didn't expect it to be so unbearable. And get stronger, stronger. To get rid of this damn powerlessness. In order to get rid of the title of the weakest weapon of mankind. He used his broken knife to fend off the serpent's attack. There is a piercing click. With a thud, the tongue flicked away. Squat on the ground and take a deep breath. Hold the broken knife and move forward. Rush to the boulder. Hold the broken knife in your hand. Great power. There is only overwhelming power. So that they can bow down to their subordinates. Let them kneel. Hypocrisy does not protect oneself, no matter what kind of strategy the other party has. Vulnerable in the face of power. In the face of fear. Everything will also be vulnerable. Because it's too weak. At one time, it was looked down upon. Even if you know more. And wisdom. Even if they are grateful for it. In the face of absolute power, it will still be easy to suffer from the future. Only you are strong enough will be truly respected. Otherwise, Cheng Xiaoyu was sold by the giant snake. Take a shot with the snake's tail. Bang! Hit the wall directly. Struggling to get up from the ground. Hands trembled slightly. But he worked very hard. Because the monster in front of me is not strong enough. It's too far from that guy. Compared to the fear at that time, there is nothing to be afraid of at all. Cheng Xiao jumped up. The broken knife slashed through the serpent. Once the tongue sticks out, bite the tongue. Cheng Xiaoyu leaned back to dodge. Then pounce on it. Hold your fingers. Hold your fingers firmly. Pinch hard. For a while, the invulnerable snake spirits were dented. The serpent let out a heart-rending roar. Dragged Cheng Xiaoyu around. Cheng Xiaoyu yelled with all his strength. Go to hell. Click. The serpent's hard scales cracked, accompanied by a continuous sound of vigilance. He finally succeeded in hunting the queen. Also gained the item dropped by the boss, the weapon Kasada's fangs. Toxicity of Oda Sada. Just the other day. He can't even beat a first-level mob. And now he's strangled with his bare hands for ultimate revenge. Kill 1,000 enemies though. Self-damage 800. He was also covered in bruises. The long sword of 10,005 turned into a short sword. Fortunately, he got better weapons. A short sword made of serpent's teeth. Attack is twice as powerful as a sword. It also has the effect of paralyzing enemies and losing blood. He also got a water removal thing that he didn't know if it was good or not. A pop-up pops up. The final boss has been destroyed. The interior of the dungeon will be restored to its original state. The ceiling shines like a mosaic. The entire parallel space quickly vanished. Back to the real-world subway station. Follow the stairs. He came to hell. Oddly enough, the neighborhood is empty. Not a single figure is gone. Suddenly, a GI with an AK approached. Blame Cheng Xiaoyu. What's going on with you? Didn't you hear the radio? Cheng Xiaoyu looked confused. Asked the GI what happened. The GI looked confused. I just wanted to reprimand this teenager who didn't know whether to live or die, but saw the broken knife in his hand and tattered clothes, only to find out that the boy turned out to be a hunter. Suddenly respected Cheng Xiaoyu. Also led the way for Cheng Xiaoyu. On the way, Cheng Xiaoyu saw dilapidated cars everywhere. Monster corpses on the horizon. The GI tells me that a portal has suddenly appeared nearby. The Warcraft came to this world. The surrounding demonic beasts were basically wiped out. Now there's only one giant head left. I don't know if it's because of the upgrade. Cheng Xiao also sensed it very clearly. The guy in the distance is the Ultimate Edition. Calm on the road. 1 foot stepped on. The whole ground collapsed. A giant monster that glows. Loud yelling. At his feet. Hunters of all professions are attacking him. There was also a group of people eating melons around the perimeter. There was a lot of talk in the crowd. What are these hunters doing? How long is it going to be hit? This loss is getting bigger and bigger. What should I do if the price of land drops? They also took out their mobile phones and took photos and videos. And the hunters actually work hard. Where is it? They are insanely comfortable. But Gauss was too high for defense. There weren't many magic hunters among them. If you don't do it, you will be wiped out. Cheng Xiaoyu has arrived at the scene. Watched the hunters fight in a haphazard manner. He was a little speechless. It seems that this group of hunters was all improvised and put together. The degree of cooperation is completely insufficient. The rank is also not enough. 8 levels. A B-class meat shield is struggling to resist damage. The nurse has 2 B grades. There is also a B grade. And this B-class also appeared to be his best friend News. As a B-class, it was clear from this battle that he hadn't forgotten about it. It's been a week since that horror. He still couldn't get over it. But Cheng Xiaoyu didn't dare. Even he hasn't completely overcome it. But he had to get over it. He held up the joke in his hand. Stand firm. This ultimate explosion is the ground level. Long before that ultimate explosion just now, Just let that guy lose his defenses. To defeat him, it takes a powerful blow to pierce that stupid time. Chang Xiao apologized with the green tendons on his hands. Rush out. And at this moment, the hunters are already in a mess. If there is no high-level hunter support, they're going to break the defense soon. There was a clang. The boss loses defense, slowly falling. Seeing this, the hunters took advantage of the victory and pursued. Have no brainless output against boss 1. Finally kill the boss. The hunters felt strange. The attack on him just now was of no use at all. Why was he suddenly knocked down? He was not attacked by us at all. What kind of indoor stuff flew over just now? Knocked down the monster. What the hell is going to hit this guy in the head? Is it him? A dozen hunters couldn't deal with the ultimate demonic beast. Was unexpectedly knocked down by such a broken sword. Who the hell is it? He froze at the gate outside the arena. Have you ever seen who threw this sword? Look at the broken sword on the ground. The GI was stunned. Isn't that the hunter's weapon just now? The people were still here. This force. Could it be that he is a high-level hunter? And Cheng Xiaoyu, who left the scene. Even he himself was a little surprised. I didn't expect to knock down the boss with one blow. It seems that he has really gotten stronger. Standing tall and looking at the bustling crowd. The creek was in a trance. I just saw Cheng Xiaoyu. This muscular prime of life. Not long ago, he was a weak teenager. And he must complete the tasks assigned by the system every month. In order to avoid the punishment brought by the supermarket. Through constant exercise. His body is getting stronger. The body has also grown a lot taller. He opens the status window. It was found that so far the attribute points have only increased strength. He had a bad premonition. If you add it up, you might become a muscular man. It's good to add more strength. But damage alone can't hit the enemy. It's all in vain. Strength and agility can go hand in hand. Of course, the higher the physical strength, the better. But now there is a greater need for something else. Intelligence. It seems to have something to do with magic. I'm not a magician. Think again. He assigned most of the assignable stat points to names, so that it can be used with power. That's when a phone call came. Cheng Xiaoyu thought she was coming to live, but I heard a rush on the other side of the phone. It turned out that the landlord had come to collect the rent. Cheng Xiaoyu promised that the landlord would turn around soon. Hang up the phone. Cheng Xiaoyu thought to himself, now it's so many levels. This rent should be earned quickly, and continue to grow like this. He will soon be able to become a high-level hunter. Hunters make money by catching monsters. With the accumulation of experience. Level up. The price of the magic crystals obtained from the monsters will also get higher and higher. If you want to hunt high-level magical beasts, you're going to a higher portal. However, he has only been in the first and B grade so far. And these two low-level hunters are particularly competitive in numbers. So B-rank hunters are not only not accepted by the guild. It's hard to even find an activity. And Cheng Xiaoyu is at the first level in the association's official rank. To go to a high-level place. It's still a bit at the moment. He thought he would simply go to the union and be re-examined. Raise the level. But I saw it on the news. The second awakening event is the one that is getting the most attention right now. If it's because the upgrade is too fast, be noticed. It would be counterproductive. If you are targeted by some strange forces, that's even better. So before you get stronger yourself, the less people know about it, the better. So for now, only one private party can be found to join. Through a recruitment network. He soon found Cheng Xiaoyu. Came to a construction site. A lot of hunters have come to the scene. One of them beckoned to him. They introduced themselves to each other. It is said that good things don't go out. Bad things spread far and wide. Hearing that it was Cheng Xiao and his subordinates, they laughed. It turned out that it was the weakest weapon on the surface, and the captain handed Cheng Xiao a contract. Let him sign up. The reason why I teamed up with him. It's because of entering a sea-level dungeon. A minimum of 10 people needs to be met in order to progress. That's why they asked for Chang Xiao and Stinky Oil, who are first class. As remuneration, they will pay 10,002 in cash. Chang Xiaoyu's eyes were delicious. 5 C-rank hunters. Below 4 prefecture levels. It seems that he did come to make up the numbers. The other group was a D-class hunter. The guy wore a shiny outfit. A proper kryptonite player. Chang Xiaoyu's job is to follow them. Help them with their luggage. It occurred to him that there was a shortage of nurses in the line. Uncle told you. It's hard for a private attack team like theirs to recruit a healing hunter. We do this a lot. It's okay. Chang Xiaoyu sighed. The attack team turned out to have only meat shields and outputs. It's a mess. And the contract is written in black and white. Any accident that occurs in the dungeon, all responsibilities are at your own risk. That's why Chang Xiaoyu felt a little worried. The rich second generation patted Chang Xiaoyu with his titanium hand. Let her not worry. There is no surprise to have him. Chang Xiaoyu was speechless. I don't know whether to cry or laugh. Get ready to go. Everyone made their way towards the C-class dungeon. Is this how the Krypton boss appears? If you don't compare, it doesn't hurt. Chang Xiaoyu just entered the dungeon. Not even a weapon. He entered and exited the dungeon covered in titanium gear. Chang Xiaoyu entered the dungeon in order to live. And he was a hunter purely out of interest. Look at this team again. Everyone is fully armed. It seems that the team that can enter the C-level dungeon is indeed not ordinary. It's too much worse than the previous D-class and first class. The group walked through the portal. It was pitch black inside. The mage releases the orb of light. What comes into view is an intricate cave. Oddly enough, there is not a single light here, nor a single warcraft. The rich second generation is curious about the city nun. Is there still a dungeon without warcraft? Chang Xiaoyu asked him not to speak. He pricked up his ears and listened. There was a rustling sound from the cave. Listening to the sound, it's an insect-type monster. Hear this. The crowd panicked. You say it's bugs. It won't be an ant template here. But why didn't one I see? Chang Xiaoyu yelled at it. Hear this. Everyone hurriedly looked up. Soon, dense monsters leaned from the bottom cave. Mage activates skills. Bombard ants. Flesh shield activates the taunt skill. Ants crawled towards him. Take advantage of the time when the ants are attracted to quickly kill the himp. See this orderly procession. Chang Xiao sighed. Worthy of being a classmate of a C-rank hunter. It's a good fit. This kind of tacit understanding takes a long time to develop. If this level of cooperation, it's okay to have no wet nurse. But it's also because there is no wet nurse. They look reckless. The rich second generation is too, but he's wearing titanium gear. Parents who helped him hide the strength and experience. Although everyone is great, but Chang Xiaoyu always felt that something was wrong. Soon the crowd cleared the ants at the intersection. The captain ordered the crowd to collect the spoils. By the way, I will recover my strength. He came to Chang Xiaoyu. Thank you for the reminder you just had. But what made her curious? As a first-class Chang Xiaoyu, how do you know the type of warcraft and the way to attack? Chang Xiaoyu naturally can't say that it's because of the added feeling value. Facing the uncle, he said that it was based on feelings. The uncle smiled evilly. Said to Chang Xiaoyu, the good thing is that everything worked out perfectly. I'll leave it to you later. Hopefully, though, you won't use your feelings where they shouldn't. Chang Xiaoyu just wanted to speak. The sorcerer's shouts interrupted him. I saw a lot of strange wounds on the ant carcass. Not caused by the player. It looked like I had been bitten by something. It seems that before the fight with the player, the ants were seriously injured. There is also a territorial battle between warcraft. This shows that there are monsters that are more powerful than ants. It could be the ultimate explosion. There seems to be a smell of money. See the greedy eyes of the hunters. Chang Xiaoyu felt uneasy. He asked the rich second generation, your sword and shield are expensive. The rich second generation said yes to her. Because it was the first time to form a group, so his dad gave him a little bit of good gear. He was puzzled. Chang Xiaoyu suddenly asked what this was for. And Chung Xiaoyu can't say why. But it's better to be careful. The foreboding gave him a feeling that something was going to happen. Join this team by yourself. Chung Xiaoyu always felt that something was wrong, especially with the greedy eyes of the hunters. The uneasiness in his heart intensified. Dungeons vary in size, regardless of rank. Depending on the situation, some take a few days to figure out the internals. Some may not take more than a few hours to reach the final boss room. This time the dungeon is as intricate as a labyrinth, although there are no warcraft to fight. But it also took a lot of time on the road. And Cheng Zhao's work is a threat. As long as there are no surprises, he didn't need to join the fight. You don't have to fight monsters to get money. That's not bad. I don't know why I'm careful. This warning pops into my head. He didn't know why he thought of it, but he knew that his foreboding had never been missed. They have come a long way, but he didn't even see a four-limbed beast. Either the corpse of a monster, either that, or a dying beast. Otherwise, the captain stopped. Let the mage light up the area. The mage releases a ball of light, slowly illuminates the area. What appears in front of you is a variety of intricate cobwebs. All kinds of magical beasts are wrapped into mummies. And this bottomless passage is naturally the ultimate explosion room. And they just walked in, when he was attracted by the mountains of mana piled up in the cave. Although this thing is not as expensive as magic crystals, but such a big pressure can sell a lot of money. A rough estimate is more than 6 million. A stunned man said happily to the captain, "Captain, so much money. Your brother has to die first." The magician hurriedly interrupted him. The more times like this, the more he can't mention his brother. Look at the glittering mana. Make the captain smile happily. Thinking about my brother. Did you see that? You may not always be right. As a hunter, the level is a little higher. Just look down on others, blindfolded by that little money. Or even turn their backs on the state. Run to the 3 kingdoms. Enjoy the VIP treatment there. You still look down on me. But I'm not one who just relies on my brother to make a living. Take advantage of this opportunity. My attack power will also become stronger. The subordinates also can't hold back the joy in their hearts. I've already figured out how to divide it. This pair of dramas is divided into 9 parts. There are also 600,000 each. Hear their conversations. The rich second generation asked Chung Xiaoyu to take out the agreement. After reading it, he said to the hunter with the letter of agreement, "This is Chung Xiaoyu's agreement. In addition to the magic crystals obtained by hunting magical beasts, there is no mention of other items, but your mana is 10 out of 9. This is unfair to Chung Xiaoyu." The captain's face suddenly turned gloomy, but he soon transformed into a good old man's face. "Say it to them. Fair distribution, of course. I know, but there's one more thing to work out before that. To get rid of this obstructive dog. As everyone knows, once the boss was hunted down, the dungeon did the official. So before hunting spiders, all the mana stones must be moved out first. Fortunately, the spider had eaten and slept. Now is the time to carry the mana." The captain turned his head and asked his men if they had any equipment. The subordinates are skilled back. No one would have thought that there would be mana mining in a C-rank dungeon. "I didn't bring any equipment in the car." Chung Xiaoyu was speechless for a while. "I will look you quietly." Sure enough, after acting in a 2-person turn, they asked Chung Xiaoyu and the rich second generation to stay behind to guard them. "Go back to the car and get your gear." The rich second generation suddenly panicked. "You let us guard the sea level with a geisha. Isn't that hilarious?" The uncle showed a harmless expression on his face. "Say it to them. You're all visiting a C-class dungeon for the first time. Just trust me. You know, we didn't wake up with such a loud noise. What could happen? And I have something to say to the players. Let's go outside together for a cigarette and come back." While talking, he walked out of the spider hole with the skillful of the prime minister. Look at the back of the hunter leaving. Chung Xiaoyu recalled that the captain had told him. They do this all the time. That means they are in and out of the C-class port a lot. Then there is no need to find someone to fill it. After those two air forces left the cave, the captain smiled wickedly. Tell the mage to block the entrance to the final boss's room. The mage also smiled wickedly. In the frightened expression of the rich second generation, there was a loud bang. Huge falling rocks landed at the entrance to the spider cave. Cheng Xiao and the ominous premonition were verified again. The hunters were lizards. In the dungeons, hunters are a very popular job, but it's also a very dangerous job. Sometimes it's not the monsters that are most dangerous. It's the human heart. Because there is no legal surveillance in the dungeon. Even if there was an accident, the outside world won't know what's going on inside. That's why crime often happens in the dungeons. There is a hunter called a lizard. Once they find out that the team is a burden or is getting in the way, they will be as sexually fearful as a lizard with a severed tail to survive. And after Cheng Xiao joined this team with a keen sense, produced ominous, he actually ran into a swarm of lizards. In order to swallow a large amount of mana to himself, made them lock Cheng Xiaoyu and the rich second generation in a private room. And Cheng Xiaoyu also understood the captain's words. Hopefully, you won't use that feeling where you shouldn't. That's what it meant. He touched the boulder blocking the cave. It seems that the mage is quite tightly blocked. However, this is not enough to block Cheng Xiaoyu. As long as you make up your mind, going out is not a problem. The problem is that the superstar just woke up the spider boss. The hunters walked out of the portal. The subordinate asked, puzzled. The captain has to make it so complicated. Wouldn't it be nice to kill them just inside? The captain said with an angry look on his face that he was an idiot. If you wake up the spider while doing it there, how can we have time to move mana? A first-class hunter with the weakest weapon, and a low-level kryptonite hunter who doesn't have any experience in forming a group. Even if they do everything they can, you can't kill the final boss. After the spider ate them both, they fell asleep. We'll take the opportunity to dig mana again. If that doesn't work, then you can only kill the ultimate tyrant. But do you see the equipment on the rich second generation? The knife and shield alone are worth tens of thousands. Even if you can't take all the mana stones, it's also a good deal to take that guy's relics. Ultimate put in the room. The spider monster opened its jaw, salivating at the two prey in front of him. Although the rich second generation is scared to death, still stood in front of Cheng Xiaoyu. Zzz Cheng Xiaoyu took out his dagger, said calmly to the rich second generation. This guy is in the surprised expression of the rich second generation. Slowly walk into the big spider. The rich second generation thought that Cheng Xiao was crazy. Even B-rank hunters may not be able to beat C-rank treasures. How dare a first-class hunter? It's better to think of a way to escape. And the rich second generation is right. Even if there is a second awakening, Cheng Xiaohe is still very hungry at the moment. This spider was much stronger than the two bosses he had encountered before. But so what? The spider monster in front of him didn't give him the slightest sense of fear. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. The body is charged with a burst of energy. In the dumbfounded expression of the rich second generation, holding his Casa Kaboria fierce frog, Spider Silk shouted like a layer of sharp pain coming from a giant spider. Cheng Xiaoyu's attack worked. It's a weapon made of boss crows. This is visible to the naked eye. Cheng Xiao stood up with her body steadily. Hold your sword tightly. Eyes rolled. Sharp Wine woke up. Rush forward at the time of the hunt. Brainless output against Boss 1. The rich two representatives went from surprise to shock. This is a first-class hunter. In the dungeons, there is a hunter called a lizard. For the sake of profit, they tend to abandon as great souls. In order to monopolize the mana in the room, made the hunters lock Cheng Xiaoyu and the rich second generation in a private room and wait for death. Originally, it was used as a team to carry equipment. Cheng Xiaoyu had to carry the hunt. Otherwise, the skin of this guy is very hard. No less than the snake spirit of Kasaka. If you want to damage him with a short sword, you have to get as close to him as possible. He has 8 legs, though. There is no dead end. Sharp giant pincers. Has damage that can easily destroy ground and rocks. It's really not easy for ordinary people to approach him easily. No, Xiaoyu is not an ordinary person. The eyes of the rich second generation were full of disbelief. Who the hell is he? This kind of skill cannot be a first-class prey. However, the registration in the association is obviously first class. Could it be that he is a cheater? There are very few prey in the dungeon that can control the magic power. As long as they deliberately hide it, we'll be able to fool the guild's specific combat power, thus obtaining a title of lower rank. Such hunters are often referred to as cheaters. The point is, most of the cheaters are psychopathic murderers who take pleasure in slaughtering. And Cheng Xiaoyu is a perverted murderer. Looked at Cheng Xiao and the agile figure. Terrifying expressions. The rich second-generation foot artist knelt on the ground with a thud. It's really a disadvantage. It's almost over before it even starts. Cheng Xiao is in a deep fight at the moment. I didn't know I was being treated like a murderer. He's been fighting the spider boss for a while, and so far he hadn't done any decent damage to the spiders. And his physical strength was slowly declining. With the increase in fatigue, it's also going to get slower and slower. There can be no more delay. There is only one way to win. It is the special ability to use the short sword. Pierce it inside the guy's body. Attack weakness is the basic creature of raids. The biggest weakness is the skull. One of the most vulnerable parts is the eye. And this monster with eyes all over it. Green venom is spilling out of his mouth at the moment. I haven't had time to be surprised. The venom of the spider poured down. The ground was corroded in an instant. It seems that this guy has a killer weapon hidden. Approach him. You're going to have to get closer to him faster than you do now. There was a void under Cheng Xiaoyu's feet. Activate the skill sprint. Rush at the spider at lightning speed. Rushed into his blind spot all at once. Quickly deals multiple damage to spiders. Activates the effect of paralysis. But spiders are too resistant. The effect was quickly removed. At this time, Cheng Xiaoyu's fatigue value has reached 61. He gritted his teeth. It has to be a little faster. The rapid movement caused him to lose his physical strength rapidly. He had to deal with the dropped bag as soon as possible. Otherwise, it is likely that he will jump up because of lack of physical strength. I want to give the spider a fatal blow. Was confronted by a spider. The fire instantly froze the movements of the hands. I was also beaten by a spider before using it. Flew out of the trees with a thud. He fell heavily to the ground. The spider took the opportunity to stretch out his giant pincers and plunge them into Cheng Xiaoyun. Cheng Xiaoyu's fierce competition for the opportunity came. While the enemy is slackening the warmth, Cheng Xiaoyu opened the tasting. Daily quest rewards were used. I regained my strength in an instant. Run at the speed of thunderbolt to the spider. In the frightened expression of the spider, poke your dagger into the spider's eye. Spurting golden blood. Activation, paralysis, activation, bleeding. Enemy HP is consumed by 1% per second. After a brainless outlet, the spider's health bar is depleted. Bang! The head blossoms. The owner of the dungeon has been wiped out. A pop-up pops up. Cheng Xiaoyu has been promoted several levels in a row. He let out a long breath. Thankfully, I didn't use the rewards I got today. Otherwise, the consequences are unimaginable. The rich second generation was stunned. It's incredible. He literally single-handedly defeated the ultimate pack. This person is indeed a cheater. Witty, he hurriedly carried the team's behavior. One bite at a time. The eldest brother also handed it to Cheng Xiao and brother Shui. He also volunteered to pick up a shovel and dig up history. Cheng Xiaoyu was stunned. What happened to this guy suddenly? But he soon found a reason to explain. The rich second generation probably regarded him as a lifesaver. And at this moment, the entrance exploded with a loud bang. The lizards appeared. This group of greedy hunters. In order to swallow mana alone, leave the two temporarily recruited members of the team in the leopard room to die. But when they come back, was surprised to find that both of them were alive. finally died violently. What's going on? Could it be that the spider is bigger than that? It's not very powerful. But look at the equipment of the rich second generation. It is also possible to catch the C-rank boss Taoist. There's no way that level 1 can help much. The boss can only be solved by him alone. Maybe he's wearing a top-of-the-line titanium gear. What a special effect. If you are against him, maybe it's going to be a hassle. Before the mobile phone found out, this kid was still considered by a famous and rich local man. After 3 times, the captain gave the rich second generation a chance to survive. But the premise is to kill Cheng Xiaoyu. Just kill Cheng Xiaoyu. The rich second generation is an accomplice of the lizards. In this way, even if the rich second generation gets out alive, there are also handles in the hands of lizards. If not, then both of them would have to die here. Face this group of hunters who once wanted to kill him. The rich second generation's face turned dark, resolutely took up arms, and united with Cheng Xiaoyu. Look at the rich boy who eats soft and is not afraid of hard. The hunter's faces darkened, picked up the weapon and slowly approached Cheng Xiaoyu and the rich second generation. At this point, a pop-up pops up. An urgent task arises. There are people around who have murderous intentions towards the player. All of them need to be eliminated to ensure their own safety. If you don't follow the instructions, penalties will be given accordingly. The number of enemies to be eliminated is 8. Cheng Xiaoyu is still a mage of the system that suddenly appeared. Don't say a word. Directly threw a skill at Cheng Xiaoyu. There was a loud bang. Cheng Xiaoyu was repelled several meters away. Hit the wall. The rich second generation looked at the group of hunters angrily. You murderers have been in troubled times for the underwriting system. Missions are constantly changing. He laughed self-deprecatingly. How will it be? How will it be? How could I forget? This is the law of the jungle. The competition is fierce. I was paralyzed all the time. Apparently escaped death in the dungeon countless times. After restoration, he entered the dungeon again. But I mistakenly thought it was safe. But I was wrong. As long as there is an enemy, there is no so-called security. If you don't want to die, you have to kill him. This is no accident, nor for good. It's just that the system needs bugs. It's not about making me strong. It's that he needs a strong man. That's great. The system takes advantage of me. I take advantage of the system. The hunter is still laughing at his teammate mage. When did you become so weak? It's a shame. You can't even kill it in seconds. But they don't know. The mage had already used all his strength for that blow. And Cheng Xiaoyu can still stand up. Didn't hit. Cheng Xiaoyu exuded a black aura on his body. To the group of hunters who did not know whether they were alive or dead. It's a joke about human life. You should be ready, too. And the hunters have not yet felt that danger has come. Is still laughing at Cheng Xiao and his inadequacy. Cheng Xiaoyu's eyes were sharp. I ask you as hunters, are you ready to be hunted? A stunned man who didn't know whether he was alive or dead walked out. Put his hand on Cheng Xiaoyu's shoulder. Say to him, looks like you haven't figured out the situation yet. And Cheng Xiaoyu is too lazy to say a word to these people. Raise his dagger. Hand up and knife down. The movement quickly took ahead. The system shows the number of enemies that have been destroyed. The hunters began to panic. When did this kid get a knife? Even if they are careless sometimes. But that hunter was a prefecture-level hunter. How could he be killed by a first-class one? The hunters were murderous because of their greed, but activated Cheng Xiaoyu's murder mission. All hostile people present must be wiped out. Failure to do so will be punished by the system. With just one blow, he killed a prefecture-level miscellaneous fish in an instant. And there is no way back when he kills someone. After all, he doesn't kill. He was the one who died. The power of the desolation erupted in his body. Become an emotionless hunting machine. And the mage who inspired his killing system still doesn't know whether to live or die. I want to do it again. A blow of energy hit Cheng Xiaoyu. Cheng Xiaoyu. A ghost came to him in an instant. Fruit Ninja swings his sword quickly. The mage cracked before the eyes of his companions. The hunters panicked. Can't beat it. Then come to the group. A warrior with a sword leads the way. Hand up and knife down. Cut a loneliness. I haven't had time to be surprised. Chung Xiaoyu had already flashed in front of him. 2 cultivators and 3 hunters panicked. It's too fast. Can't hit him at all. The body still can't move. This guy can do magic. The rich second generation was dumbfounded. This guy is even more powerful at killing dungeon buns. After a while, all the small trash fish were cleared. The captain panicked. Just after a while, his men were all in the streets. It turns out that this guy has been hiding food. It seems that the dungeon boss should have been killed by him as well. But after all, it is the best of the C class. Even if you meet a hunter of the same level, he's not false at all. He activates the enhancement skill, plus a set of defenses and shields. At the moment he is a tank. Benki. In the face of absolute defense, any speed is useless in front of him. But what he didn't know was, Chung Xiaoyu is not only fast, the power is also terrifying. And he's been escalating. The captain lying on the ground could not believe the defense he was proud of. It was disintegrated by one blow after another. It was only when he was dying that he realized how powerful Chung Xiaoyu was. He is even most likely a cheater in people's mouths. I can see the fight. He coaxed. Success. Xiaoyu spared his life. He will give money. And all the mana stones and magic crystals here have returned to Chung Xiaoyu. Chung Xiaoyu looked at him indifferently 3 times. You've tried to kill me 3 times. Now they are begging me for mercy. The captain's eyes widened in fright. Do you think you're going to be able to get away with doing such a thing? Didn't you say that no one would know what was going on in the dungeon? Does this guy know who my brother is? How dare you captain the captain before he finished speaking? Chung Xiao and the quick knife cut through the mess. End the tragic life of this scumbag. With the last man hunting successfully, the system indicates that the enemy has been destroyed. Earn mission rewards. Regenerate status ability points to overtime murderous aura. The greedy hunter is murderous. Inspired Chung Xiaoyu's player system. In order to survive, Chung Xiaoyu wiped out the hunters. The news soon reached the Hunters Association. It is written that 8 people were killed in the battle in the C-class dungeon. Only the prefecture and first-class hunters survived. Because of the fact that the hunters are running away, at a time when underground cities are commonplace. But the subordinate told him, they didn't run away. Instead, he also eliminated the final boss of the dungeon. That D-class hunter named Lu Chenhao have high-priced gear. It is also possible to defeat C-rank bosses. The point is that this time the boss belongs to the giant spider class. Doesn't threaten experienced teams. But 8 members of the team died. It's really weird. See what is say in the next episode. Don't go around in circles. Tell him in the next episode. Refugee first-class survivors. It's the underwriting and the hunter in the double dungeon event. Here it's the name. But before measuring Chung Xiaoyu's combat power, he was a scumbag. He didn't feel the need to waste time on Chung Xiaoyu again. And when he heard that one of the dead was Huang Dongshu's brother, his brow furrowed. After all, Huang Dongshu is one of the few hunters of that level. Chung Xiaoyu came out of the dungeon and returned home. He has always been picky, and he also bought fried chicken and beer to treat himself. She picked up her beer and gulped down. Was turned on by the system. I didn't even have a chance to get drunk. This passive skill is after Chung Xiaoyu becomes a player. Reward for the first awakening. Secret missions. The courage of the weak. Against all diseases and poisons birds. It's also because of her. Cheng Xiao and the lost leg were later. He suddenly remembered that he had gotten Kasaka before. Reduces damage by 20. But at the same time it will be reduced by 35. 1. And Cheng Xiao and poison immunity just worked. Come to think of this. She opened the venom glands. Straight into the mouth. It doesn't take long for the system to detect harmful ingredients and successfully relieve the side effects caused by the poison glands. At this time, the rich second generation called him. They made an appointment at a cafe. For the rich second generation who used to fight together, Chung Xiaoyu still has a good impression of her. After they walked out of the dungeon, the rich second generation gave all the magic crystals to Cheng Xiaoyu and save his life. He can live a peaceful life. And the rich second generation thinks Chung Xiaoyu is a cheater. Murderers who take pleasure in killing people shouldn't have been contacted. But he wanted to form a private attack team. The words are not finished yet was part-time by Chung Xiaoyu. The crew was not interested in accompanying a rich boy and playing hunter games. The rich second generation is in a hurry, said to Chung Xiaoyu. Just bet with me 19 times. We'll give Chung Xiaoyu a generous reward. Chung Xiaoyu warned them. Dungeons aren't a game. Hunters don't just kill monsters. And kills. The last time I saw such a terrible field. Even so, you also want to form an attack team. Do you want to be a guild leader? The rich second generation's eyes were full of determination. Joining a guild leader requires 20 years of betting, and he only needs to participate in the remaining 19 times. In the written test, you can be free. And he wanted to be the head of the union and his company. His father wanted to start a guild. The dungeon is dangerous, though. But there are also many hidden treasures. Magic crystals and mana stones are just some of them. The corpse of a warcraft can also be used as a material. So everything in the dungeon is useful. Naturally, big business wants to get involved. And the rich second generation became the head of the union. You can form a business hunter. His father wanted to hire an S-class hunter as a leader. Let his brother be the deputy chief. Run a guild like a running company. Although his brother is very capable. But he is not an awakened. So there's no way to sit in the position of leader. There will inevitably be friction between the chief and deputy leaders. And the rich second generation wants to accumulate practical experience. To convince him, Father Chung Xiaoyu. For the rich second generation, it is the best candidate to form a team. With his ability to deal with C-level bosses and C-class prey unscathed, the grade is B or even higher. Although it looks cold and ruthless on the outside. But when Huang Zhong burst out from the spider, hunters are like team fights with high-level hunters, and successfully complete team battles with first-class hunters. The team brings more benefits than the latter. And Chung Xiaoyu wants to fight while hiding his strength. It also happens to need an attack team. The rich second generation assured Chung Xiaoyu will keep his hidden strength secret for the rest of his life. Besides, the rich second generation handed Cheng Xiaoyu a stack of documents. Chung Xiaoyu picked up the document and looked at it. I was stunned for a moment. This rich second generation is really generous. In order to recruit hunter teammates, actually offered a sky-high price of 200 million. It was Chung Xiaoyu who fought with him 19 C-level team battles. And not so long ago, Chung Xiaoyu couldn't even afford a weapon to go to the dungeon. This sky-high price is tantamount to a huge amount of money for her. Although he is a special case in the Second Awakening. Sooner or later, one day you can be promoted to S rank. Perhaps higher than the S class. The wings were nothing at all. But the current 200 million is still quite tempting for him. You can also fight monsters and upgrade without any scruples. No matter how you calculate it, it's a no-lose account. He made a condition to the rich second generation. They had to go in. The rich second generation trembled with fright. Even a C-tier team is a bit difficult to attack the dungeon. And Chung Xiaoyu actually planned to go with the two of them. However, the union rules. A minimum of 10 team members are required to enter the C-class porter. The two of them alone couldn't go. Cheng Xiaoyu proposed to use the method of the palace. As long as you come and make up the number of people, you can get paid. The rich second generation thinks it's still inappropriate. Conquer the C-rank dungeon with just 2 people. It's just too dangerous. Chung Xiaoyu sighed. It seems that you still don't fully understand. In other words, as long as the 2 of us are okay, no one will be hurt. If you start with the formation of an attack team, safely complete 19 team fights. This will help you prove your strength to your father. Hear this. The rich second generation suddenly opened. Their agreement was reached. It's up to the rich second generation to recruit the remaining teammates. Chung Xiao ran while thinking, unaware that the dailies have been completed. It's been more than a month, and the excess locomotion system is also recorded. This made Chung Xiaoyu suddenly curious. He stretched his body and moved again. After discovering that the amount of exercise has doubled, the system will no longer rise. Case. Then by the way, I also turned the run. The two countries are matched. The news of his brother's death in the dungeon reached the X-class hunters. Huang Zhong said. He angrily smashed the phone in his hand. He knew the brother who didn't make it categorically will not fight for the weak. What's more, those two people are not their team members yet. He must have been killed by a trap set by those two people. He asked his assistant to help him pay for the trip. He's going back. Xiu Hui Hui, the two murderers' assistants, told him. There's a lot of work to do. It will be 2 months before there is a slot at the earliest. He tore the information in his hand. A hideous face was revealed. Hopefully in 2 months. These two guys aren't dead yet. First-level hunter Lu Chenhao and first-class hunter Cheng Xiaoyu. Cheng Xiaoyu doubled the daily quest and completed it. Hidden quests are enabled. Get 3 rewards. The third of these rewards can only be chosen. Tangled. He chose to be captured. Randomly got the key to SG Demon Domain. He came to the designated place where the gate would be opened. I took the key and plugged it in. The door to the S-class dungeon slowly opens. He walked in. It's a hellish place. Everywhere there was a raging fire. He had a hunch that his survival rate here was almost 0, but he still wanted to come in and learn about his combat effectiveness. In the unlikely event that your life is in danger, use the return line right away. Not long after leaving, I encountered the first monster in the S-class dungeon, or the red name. Cheng Xiaoyu, the 3-headed Gaydog of Hell, had a solemn face. It was the first time he had encountered a monster with a red name. One of them may have to be planted here. How terrifying are S-class dungeons. Once there was an explosion on a small island. The whole island became an uninhabitable place. S-class port. Even S-class hunters may not succeed if they form a team. With the strength of the hunters who can be mobilized now, even the state is unlikely to control the S-class port. They couldn't predict the danger of S-class demonic beasts. And Cheng Xiaoyu went to the S-class dungeon alone, because he would love to know this kind of possession of an indestructible body, a powerful force to kill in one hit. Whether his attack was wrong or not, Cheng Xiaoyu rushed up, swinging a short sword quickly, deals multiple damage to monsters. The Wolf Slayer was also launched. Passively activates the running skill. Activate the murderous skill. The operation is as fierce as a tiger. Not only did it not hurt him, and managed to provoke him to anger. 3-headed dog dragged a huge body, quickly run towards Cheng Xiaoyan. Cheng Xiaoyan jumped on his head with agility, pierce him in the eye with a short sword. The system says that the monster can't feel the monster. Open his huge mouth. The backhand against Cheng Xiaoyu is just as powerful as the impact. Knocked him against the wall, collapsed and struggled in the rubble. And the physical strength shows a constant decrease. The system will go through constant warnings. Help the player try not to die in danger. If Cheng Xiaoyu is the only player, he's going to die. The system is expected to be difficult to do, and Cheng Xiaoyu simply calculated it. Since the system takes advantage of him, he devours the system. Use rewards. 1. Recovery state. A burst of light. Flash the dog's eye. Wait for him to come back to his senses and try to weigh it. Xiaoyu has caught one of his 360-degree spins. Directly twisted one of the dog's heads. Then jump on it. Quickly plunge the short sword into the other 2 dog heads. He roared loudly after a brainless outburst. He succeeded in eliminating the guard dogs. Upgraded several levels in a row. Obtain the key to open the city gates. 1 piece of equipment and 1 guard dog's teeth. Through this battle, Xiaoyu also knew about the food in the S-class dungeon. Even a janitor made him so unbearable. With his current strength, it will be given for nothing. Only when he is strong can he be qualified to open this door. He'd heard that in the dungeon, no matter what happened, no one will know. So he found the young man, dropped 10 million cash on the table, bribe him, help kill someone, kill those bugs. It's not a big deal for young people. But all that went into the dungeon was the bedbug eggs. There may be other hunters as well. So the young man added 5 million to the original price. In this world, you can be a B rank hunter. It belongs to the high-level hunters. I can receive invitations from many large guilds. With a humble wage. That's because killing is no further for him than killing. I don't know if it's intentional or acceptable. I have experienced life and death together. Now, because of the call of the association, gathered together again, the reborn Chung Xiaoyu. Old song with a broken arm. Gentle and timid nurse Nozomi. There is also a stealing life. The old king who abandoned the team. Seeing Chung Xiao and Xiaoxi with tears in their eyes. Can't believe it. He really survived the evil gods. The appearance has changed dramatically. Even the lost leg has grown back. What the hell is going on here? Before Chung Xiaoyu could explain, a voice interrupted them. Directly in the distance, several handcuffed prisoners got out of a car. They laughed at Chung Xiaoyu's arrival uninterestingly. At this time, a man with an aura appeared behind him, interrupted the prisoner. She looked at the group of prisoners with disdain. The appearance of men. The prisoner suddenly reined in. The little assistant in charge of this mission is long overdue. He told Chung Xiaoyu, the crowd will be in a group with the prisoners. These prisoners were hunters before. Prisoners can reduce their sentences by moving bricks in groups. The reason why the prisoners are needed to help crusade the dungeon. It's because the hunter works with a high level of danger. As a result, fewer and fewer people are engaged in the profession of hunters. There's no way around it. And in order to monitor the living association of prisoners, because the prisoners are all C-class hunters. Want to win against B-rank hunters? At least a real-name C-level hunter is required. Chung Xiaoyu's face became serious. Zhang Haoyan's appearance gave him a sense of foreboding. He asked Nozomi to quit the team fight. And Xiaoxi finally met Chung Xiaoyu. Don't want to lose her again. Insisted on accompanying her to the team fight. Old Song was like a light bulb on the side of Shuahu. Zhang Haoyan helped the prisoners open the handcuffs. Came to Lao Song. Put them at ease. Indicates that he will spy on the good and bad guys. And ask who it is this time. As a captain, Lao Song didn't feel emotional because of the failure last time. Resolutely carried the captain's atmosphere. But he still turned his head and asked Xiao Yin and Xiaoqing. Chung Xiaoyu agreed without hesitation. Lao Song gave him a 90-degree bow. He was very grateful to Chung Xiaoyu. I am willing to give him this opportunity. After all, it was because of his wrong decision at the time. As a result, 11 team members were killed. Thanks to Chung Xiaoyu's urgency. Only then did the remaining 6 survive. He turned to me and asked me with disdain. I was the captain. You're okay with that? Lao Wang turned his head arrogantly. Feel free to do this to me. A duo who claim to be 3 key moments and don't abandon the player. The 3 prisoners and the watchman are called Hao Tianyi, Lao Song and Chung Xiao with Xiaoxi. They slowly walked into the mysterious dungeon. The gears of fate shifted again. What the situation? The guild even arranged for the prisoners to form a team with the hunters. Look at the way they fight monsters. That's called a murderess. For a while, Lao Song couldn't tell which people were. Which are Warcraft. A goblin wants to sneak up on Old Song. Was backhanded by him with a flame. Although he lost an arm. But it didn't affect his explosiveness at all. I still have time to complain about Lao Wang's unchanged swordsmanship. Lao Wang's problem with his love of being the captain is still the same as before. What surprised Lao Song the most was Chung Xiaoyu. After the last goodbye, his change from the inside out. He used to be a mess. Now it looks like it's at ease. On the contrary, Xiaoxi is becoming more and more depressed. Faced with the Green Goblin will be afraid. It seems that he has not yet come out of the shadows. Although it is a pity. But keep it like this. He may not be able to continue as a hunter. After they cleaned up the entrance mobs, it was found that there were 3 paths. Reduce the time spent fighting monsters. He led the prisoner to the right. If anyone else finds out about the ultimate explosion room, they will come to him. And Chung Xiaoyu found that Zhang Haoyan suddenly revealed that strange danger exacerbate his sense of foreboding. And Chung Xiaoyu can feel it. The final boss is just at the end of the path he has taken. Kill the Green Goblin. It was no longer possible to increase his experience points. You can only kill the final boss. Gain experience in this way. But what makes Chung Xiaoyu more concerned is this. This unfathomable Zhang Haoyan. Zhang Haoyan and the 3 prisoners planted a monster in a passage. After a few brushes, it was cleaned up by the inmates. Look at the ugly green devil corpse. He felt sick. People are no different from Warcraft. It's all disgusting bedbugs. He asked the prisoner. Even if it's a child, you'll kill you too. The prisoners looked confused. I felt like he was bored with that question. Zhang Haoyan continued to ask. From now on, you're going to meet 100 kids here. The kids were hungry. You will be eaten alive. Can you kill them? This time, the prisoners replied in unison. Of course. Zhang Haoyan's face changed. A spooky smile. Said the dungeon to the prisoner. I can talk to the Hunters Association. You've met 100 greens here. Ask another channel. Lao Wang also encountered the Green Devil. They hope there won't be any surprises this time. Wait until the team fight is over. They are like Chung Zhao's sincere apologies. Last time I was a deserter. Let them live in guilt all the time. Take this opportunity to apologize to him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't accept the apology. That's it. Lao Wang continued to move forward. Another hole was discovered. They walked in. The next second he was stunned. Zhang Haoyan was assassinating the prisoner. A very popular job as a dungeon hunter. But it's also a dangerous job, because doing anything illegal in the dungeon will not be known to the outside world. So a hunter like Wu Haoyan who kills for fun. I love this dark dungeon very much. Just as he was killing 3 prisoners with his bare hands. But let the 2 of them bump into Lao Wang, who was passing by. With his left hand, he pulled out the dagger hidden at his waist. Ended up with the prisoner on the right hand. On another channel, Chung Xiao and the others heard the screams coming from the passage next to them. Chung Xiaoyu felt a powerful murderous aura. They ran quickly towards the place where the sound was coming from. Just about to run out of the hole. Chung Xiaoyu is a spirit. Grabbed Zhang Haoyan, who suddenly sneaked up. Zhang Haoyan was a little surprised. I saw through his movements. His hands trembled. Broke free of Chung Xiaoyu. Grab his hand. Unbelievable, Chung Xiaoyu was able to stop him. A proud raid. What a keen guy. Zhang Haoyan originally planned to get rid of the wet nurse Chung Xiaohe first. Ruined his plans. But it doesn't matter to him. Anyway, he will die at his hands in the end. Just like the old king of the earth. See the dying old king. Chung Xiaoyu hurriedly called Xiaoxi to treat him. But it didn't work. Lao Wang was already too badly injured. Jesus couldn't save him. Chung Xiaoyu yelled in a hurry. You have to live. Didn't you say that day that you wanted to live for your family? You have to make it to the end. Then I can resent you. And Lao Wang originally wanted to sincerely bow his head and apologize. But now he had to bow his head. It's going to hang up right away. With the last of his strength, he shouted out the 3 words hidden in his heart. I'm sorry. Then he hung his head. Leaving this world. Cheng Xiao and stunned. These are the words he has been waiting for a long time. I didn't expect to say it in this case. He angrily wanted to settle accounts with Zhang Haoyan. Old Song stopped him. Although Chung Xiaoyu is now improving. But I don't want him to take that risk. The other party is a B-rank hunter. C-level skills may not be beaten. He's still an assassination type. The speed is also far above the Old Song. However, Lao Song is not a vegetarian. Although he is a C-class magician. But in fact, he is more good at swordsmanship. Even S-class hunters worship him as a teacher. Learn swordsmanship. He had been practicing swordsmanship for more than 10 years, but he awakened and became a mage. That's why he broke out as a mage. He picked up Lao Wang's sword and walked towards Zhang Haoyin. Also asked the nurse to add a BU to him. With B-class retaliation, he was full of strength. Zhang Haoyin laughed at the old and weak. Even a mage would dare to fight me in close combat. Strengthens the magic of the flesh. A useless bonus skill for mages. But the current old song is actually a melee mage. He was a good swordsman. And creation makes people. But he awakened and became a mage. Now in order to survive, he picked up the sword in his hand again. And Zhang Haoyin didn't know Lao Song's swordsmanship. Even felt that Lao Song was dying and struggling. So he underestimated the enemy. Old Song. Bounce off Zhang Haoyin's sword. Split his body in half. But after all, it's a B-rank hunter. Before being struck by the body, quickly dodge Haoyin. Cheng Xiaoyu saw it, although only for a moment. But Old Song quickly followed that guy. Just another year. Maybe be able to keep up with that guy's speed. Even Zhang Haoyin had to obey. It seems that he is underestimating Lao Song's swordsmanship, which is fast and accurate. However, it is still inferior to him, a B-class assassin. Zhang Haoyin took the first drop of blood as a talented woman. Fortunately, Lao Song has the support of the nurse here. It's a pity that there is a huge difference in strength, even with a wet nurse in the back to recover. But I couldn't bear it. Will Haoyin's continuous output. Old Song, who had been stabbed several times in his body, screamed in pain and staggered. Squat on the ground. Konishi hurriedly ran up. Old Song waved his hand and motioned for him not to come. Zhang Haoyin thought that he had given up treatment. Walked up to him and waved. Old Song's eyes suddenly opened. Pat the ground with your hands. In an instant, sparks erupted from the ground. With a loud boom, the super-large spark swept Zhang Haoyin. This is Lao Song's last resort. But Zhang Haoyin still dodged. He, raising a glass of water with a blank face, just as I was about to penetrate, but was blocked by a flaming sword. Cheng Xiaoyu blocked Zhang Haoyin's attack. Zhang Haoyin's hand, holding the dagger, was trembling. Zhang Haoyin was furious. It's you again. Who the hell are you? What is the grade? Cheng Xiaoyu told him expressionlessly. I am Cheng Xiaoyu's first-class hunter. Zhang Haoyin naturally didn't believe it. If it's a power type, it may be possible to use such a level. But Xiaoyu's reaction speed is by no means a power type, and also blocked his 2 attacks. Could it be the same assassination series as him? But it's not the point of any department. The point is that Cheng Xiaoyu has been hiding his strength. And Cheng Xiaoyu can't be a cheater. Cheating don't be stupid enough to save witnesses. There is only one answer. Cheng Xiaoyu is a second awakener. Heard that Cheng Xiaoyu was a second awakener. Lao Song and Xiao Shi were stunned by Zhang Haoyin. Through his 2 reactions, knew that Cheng Xiaoyu had only recently awakened. Anyway, as a hunter, Cheng Xiaoyu's experience is still too little, and Zhang Haoyin is an old fritter. Cheng Xiaoyu looked angry. He asked Zhang Haoyin why he wanted to do such a thing. Zhang Haoyin told me. He was approached by an owner. Let him help kill someone. Zhang Haoyin originally wanted to refuse. But that man was among the prisoners he was guarding. One of the bastards insulted his daughter. So he took this assassination. I told her about Cheng Xiaoyu. As long as they can keep today's events a secret, and spared their lives. Cheng Xiaoyu naturally didn't believe it. Zhang Haoyin said this is Wu Yu's expression. One word, and one look can't wait to kill Cheng Xiaoyu. And Cheng Xiaoyu didn't believe in this person from the beginning. It's a story. Assassins in sets. As soon as they disagreed, they started fighting. And the experienced General Haoyin speed is slightly better. No, the process Xiao already has a wet nurse. After the buff is applied, they fought at about the same pace. And the despicable Zhang Haoyin threw out a dagger while fighting. The target is a creek that replenishes milk on the side. And Lao Song suddenly appeared. blocked the dagger's attack. Take advantage of Xiao Yu's distraction. He quickly flashed to Cheng Xiaoyu's side. The speed caused Cheng Xiaoyu a lot of damage. However, it didn't do much harm, but activated Cheng Xiaoyu's system. It's a mature system. Whenever someone has murderous intentions towards Cheng Xiaoyu, the system will start without permission. Demand that those with murderous intentions be eliminated. If not complied with, the heart will stop beating. And Cheng Xiaoyu was grateful for this wave of settings for the first time. Mei Shi had another reason to kill Wu Haoyan. He disappeared in place with a thud, flashed in front of Wu Haoyan's eyes. Wu Haoyan was unusually excited. This was his first time playing against an opponent. Even the speed was above him. It's so fast that he can't keep up. Was scratched by Cheng Xiaozhong. Took a blood. It also has the effect of paralysis and blood loss. But because his resistance is too high, the passive effect only stays on him. A conjure. Suddenly, under Cheng Xiaoyu's gaze, Wu Haoyan's body gradually disappeared. Finally turned into a puff of smoke. Completely disappeared from Cheng Xiaoyu's sight. But it is still possible to attack Cheng Xiaoyu. Fortunately, Cheng Xiaoyu's perception is relatively strong. Even if you can't see it, you can feel it too. This is Wu Haoyan's stealth skill. You can erase all the looks, voices, and smells. Assassination of hunters. Only a very small percentage of people have this rare skill. And no one has ever known that Wu Haoyan has this skill. Because everyone who has seen this skill is dead. Smack. Wu Haoyan slashed at Cheng Xiaoyu. I cut all the hamstrings. And the nurse is too far away from Chen Xiaoyu. It can't be treated. I want to run over. Wu Haoyan pointed a knife at him. Frightened, he stayed where he was. Disrupted Wu Haoyan. Smile pleasantly. I thought I had a chance to win. Can be a second. Cheng Xiaoyu had no choice but to self-medicate. Wu Haoyan was dumbfounded. I thought Cheng Xiaoyu was the same assassination series as himself, but it can use healing magic. Is there really a combat series with healing? Or is it just a bluff? Try it and find out. He continued to entrench himself beside Cheng Xiaoyu. Wait for the opportunity. When he thought the right time would come, Cheng Xiaoyu seemed to predict his movements. Slash at him with a dagger. If it's moving forward, then he was snatched away by the fierceness. It seems that Cheng Xiaoyu can indeed feel his breath. Not only was she not afraid, even incredibly excited. Killing bedbugs will make him happy, and killing the strong can make him feel the heart. He decided to go all out. Take out the fastest speed, the strongest force. And Cheng Xiaoli seems to be a prophet, knows all about his attacks. And Wu Haoyan was helpless, although he can be invisible. But the murderous spirit cannot be hidden. Once the murderous aura is exposed, was soon noticed by Cheng Xiaoyu. Must use a speed faster than Cheng Xiaoyu to upset this balance. When Wu Haoyan was about to get friendship, Cheng Xiao's eyes widened. Used the skill to kill for a moment. Wu Haoyan's whole body froze. It was as if something had caught me under my feet. As soon as he looked up, he was frightened. The giants in the darkness stared straight at him. Suddenly, his body twitched. Take her back to reality. Cheng Xiaoyu's short sword had already pierced into his body. If he loses, he has to die. That's how Glip should be. But before dying, he still wanted to know who Cheng Xiaoyu was. He had never seen the use of healing magic, even warriors of improvised magic. Cheng Xiao told him expressionlessly, "What if I told you? Every time I fight, I get stronger. So how strong do you think I can become?" Wu Haoyan saw Cheng Xiaoyu's shadow. It becomes so long. The bowels and the darkness behind them merge into one, and it will become as powerful as the darkness. Just the other day, he can't even beat a first-level mob, and now he's singled out the B-rank professional killer. Every fight makes him stronger. Whenever I get stronger, something inside him was also crumbling a little bit. Xiao Shi and Lao Song were rescued again because of Cheng Xiaoyu. Lao Song proposed to go out directly and report the matter to the association. But Chung Xiaoyu said that the entrance to the dungeon was closed first. He wanted to settle the ultimate revenge alone. Old Song Gang has already seen Chung Xiaoyu's strength. The final boss is more than enough for him. And he said no more. Take Xiaoxi out to contact the people of the association first. Cheng Xiaoyun pulled out the sword that was stabbed on Wu Haoyan's body. On his chest, flashing blue light. The system notifies you when you become invisible. Just break this stone to absorb the skill. This is tantamount to Chung Xiaoyu is a big baby. He walked towards the prisoner's body. Said to one of the prisoners, "I know you're alive. Don't play dead. Get up." The prisoner struggled to his feet. Wu Haoyan didn't have a single move to get rid of him. Instead, it cut his throat. He can't even shout. Can only die slowly in pain. Chung Xiaoyu dragged him up. He also thought that Chung Xiaoyu was remarkable. He realized that he was not dragging in the direction of the door. It's about going in the direction of the ultimate hug. The moment the door was opened, the prisoner's eyes were full of puzzles. A big ghost with a tall man, green goblins, and a bunch of lesser devils looked straight at Chung Xiaoyu leaning against the door. Said to him with a blank face, "Do you still remember those you have hurt? You are even more garbage than Wu Haoyan. How could I possibly take someone like you out?" The prisoner trembled. The green goblin watched the prisoner salivate. They swarmed up. The range of the bite. Silent screams echoed through the hall. After that, Chung Xiaoyu successfully solved the big dog, the owner of the dungeon. Public opinion comes first. Song Jigua and Konishi who left the dungeon. A staff member who is aware of a major accident. The matter was immediately reported to the superiors. The higher-ups who received the report quickly opened up. Coincidentally, there was something that made him very Jiang Haoyan hired to kill people, but was counter-killed. But there will definitely be corpses left at the scene. But they closed the door of the dungeon. That means they must be trying to hide something. He rushed to the scene. Saw the change in Chung Xiaoyu's appearance. And Chung Xiaoyu also remembers this person. But at that time, I didn't find out that this person was very powerful. The kind of power that emanates from the body. He is together with Cheng Xiao and his current strength. Not his opponent at all. He was in trouble for the staff. Cheng Xiao apologized to them. At the same time, the straight-to-the-point question is, who killed the B-rank hunter Wu Haoyan? Chung Xiaoyu felt a second awakening. The world can't be hidden. Although it's a pity. But you have to give up the agreement with the rich second generation. Because what he wants is a hunter who has both a low level of strength. But Lao Song stood up. Said that he killed Wu Haoyan. How a C-rank kills a B-rank hunter? Lao Song pointed to the stream behind him and said, "I have to go through the nurse." If you add good assistance, it is indeed possible to defeat Wu Haoyan. But that guy couldn't even figure it out to him. Not to mention a C-class hunter who lost an arm. But this kind of thing will come to light sooner or later. He asked Lao Song to go back and assist them in completing the investigation report. Before leaving, Chung Xiaoyu stopped Lao Song, curious why he helped him hide it. Old Song gave him a smile. "I think it's a little favor for you. I don't think I'm a first-class hunter. You can kill the B-level hunter Wu Haoyan. Because I don't think it's necessary. The second time I doubt that you are a second awakener. But I still have to warn you. Be careful in everything to live a long life." Chung Xiaoyu didn't understand what he meant. The last time Huangzhong was an attack team incident. Survived. It's just you and a prefecture-level hunter, Huang Dongshu hunter. Maybe I'm eyeing you. It doesn't matter how the truth is. The important thing is that you survived. Even the law cannot restrain and sanction S-class hunters. Their presence is both a miracle and a disaster. You'd better be careful. Maybe the monster that even monsters fear is already eyeing you. In the dungeons. What kind of terrifying existence is an S-class hunter? Even the law cannot bind and sanction. Their presence is both a miracle and a disaster. Cheng Xiaoyu was forced to kill the sea-level hunter Huang Zhong. The news was spread to Huang Dongshua, an S-class hunter who was far away in Ambo. Enraged, he plans to return to China in 2 months. Will it be the murderer who killed his brother? After coming out of the sea-level dungeon, Xiaoxi asked Cheng Xiaoyu out. He lamented that Cheng Xiaoyu had changed. And she hasn't changed at all. After surviving from that evil god, he tried to overcome this fear. But I can't get rid of it. As a B rank, he was supposed to participate in a first-level team battle, at least C-level. But instead he chose D rank and Tier 1 team fights. That's exactly what happened. He can often meet Cheng Xiao to treat him. Remembered when I first met Cheng Xiaoyu. He was injured all the time. He's even a little annoyed. I think he's a fool. But it seems that Xiaoyu can survive every time. Those eyes full of life. It's as if to say that you must survive. But now, he can no longer follow Cheng Xiaoyu's eyes. He pulled out the magic crystal. This was an agreement they made in the midst of a crisis. Now the promise has come true. The remaining fees can be refunded to the parties. And Xiaoxi plans to start retreating to his hometown. Also let Cheng Xiaoyu go over. He invited him to eat sashimi. Cheng Xiaoyu accepted the magic crystal. I also made a promise to him again. Konishi smiled at him. Then he waved goodbye. Cheng Xiao looked at Xiaoxi's departing back. Cheng Xiao clenched the magic crystal in his hand. He had a reason to be stronger. Be sure to find his home in time for the S-class hunters. Become stronger than him. As agreed. He followed the rich second generation to the entrance of the C-class dungeon. Scene. There are a number of various team members recruited by the rich second generation. Sick drunkards. And children. They all have hunter qualifications. But for personal reasons, he was unable to work as a hunter. But it doesn't matter. Cheng Xiao had already asked them to stay outside. The rich second generation told them. Because the law is required. The sea-level portal requires at least 10 hunters to progress. That's why I asked everyone to come and make up the numbers. And just stay outside. Wait for him to finish attacking the dungeon. Everyone can get paid 30,000 yuan. The condition is that what you see and hear here is not leaked. Otherwise, you will have to pay 10 times the penalty for liquidated damages. What made Cheng Xiaoyu puzzled was that the rich second generation wraps himself tightly. He specially spent a lot of money to hire foreign craftsmen. It's all about strengthening. And Cheng Xiaoyu just poked lightly with his fingers. He fell and ate. Don't talk about going outside. I can't even move. At the request of Cheng Xiaoyu, he removed his armor. Only a helmet remained. The team members immediately talked about it. These two people don't look very powerful. Just the two of them went to fight the sea-level dungeon. In case of death, wait inside. But it's none of our business. Anyway, get the deposit. And one of them knows Cheng Xiaoran. After all, the surface is the weakest. The fame of weapons is not covered. The drunkard sighed that he was really young and frivolous. The whims of young people can kill a group of people. After a while, the rich second generation ran out in a panic. His teammates all sweated for him. If only I could escape. It's a blessing. Immediately, it was discovered that the portal was slowly closing. They didn't run away. Instead, he killed the final boss. And they're going to move on to the next dungeon. There are 3 dungeons to be defeated today. None of my teammates believed it. Eyes widen. I just finished fighting the sea-level dungeon. I want to form a group again. These 2 guys have so good physical strength. Who the hell are they? Someone spent 1.5 million to buy the Raiders. Class C port license. And lately, there has been a C-class teleport. Will be taken away immediately. As a result, the hunters in their guild are not reasonable. Originally, it was only about 400,000 yuan to buy it. They have already mentioned 1.5 million. The captain is Liu Chunhao, the second son of a construction group. Even if it's a bit of an interest, it's a little too much. Otherwise, he noticed that there was also a Cheng Xiaoyu. Brain melon seeds. Ingenious. He remembered it all at once. The double dungeon event that happened 2 or 3 months ago. And one of the survivors is Cheng Zhao's. That's a bit of an interesting thing. He hurriedly stood up. Shout at the people in the office. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Check these 2 profiles for me right away. Accidents occasionally occur in the dungeons. Able to survive an accident. It's trust. And Cheng Xiaoyu had 3 accidents in a row. But they all survived. The first is the double dungeon event. The second was a yellow light attack. Cheng Xiaoyu and the rich second generation met in the second incident. The noteworthy thing about the rich second generation is the process construction. I heard that the chairman of the board of directors is preparing to establish a trade union, looking for capable hunters. This can explain the current behavior of the rich second generation. And he's recruiting capable hunters. Tier 100 Cheng Xiaoyu quickly attacked the sea-level portal. All kinds of events are in a row. That means that Cheng Xiaoyu is likely to be the second awakener. Only then can it be explained. Why did he survive 3 accidents? Although the third accident was recorded as a C-class mage, joined forces with B-class nurses to kill B-class assassination series. But anyone who is a little smarter knows. There are too many doubts about this matter. The monster fighting and assassination department may not have the skills of other departments, but on going it alone, the assassination department is the most dominant. And as a basic common sense of hunters, I will definitely kill the nurse first. Even fools know this. To put it bluntly, it's this duel. There is no chance of winning as a recitation of a C-rank hunter. At that time, the survivors were except C-level hunters and B-class nurses. There is only a first-class hunter Cheng Xiaoyu. All the suspicions pointed to him. A second awakened person is an extremely rare person. The first to grasp the information is definitely breaking news. Immediately, several monsters in the dungeon were trembling. Because this enemy in front of you will be invisible. Disappeared in front of them in an instant. And when Cheng Xiaoyu appeared again, it's the monster's death. The rich second generation is mining on the side. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Cheng Xiaoyu hides a bunch of secrets that he doesn't know. And it seems like you can feel him getting stronger every time. By killing monsters. Cheng Xiaoli has improved a lot of levels. There are also a lot of interesting skills. Especially the stealth skills obtained from Jiang Haoyan. Although I dislike him a little. But this skill is really better than other skills. The only fly in the ointment is, the skill duration is too short. Consumes MP too fast. Originally, it wasn't going to add intelligence. Some must also be added to improve the MTG. He also got hit the vital agent. If you open the skill, you can quickly find the weak points on the monster. Monsters can be killed with minimal tricks. This is a system prompt that the specified level has been reached. The job transfer mission has been completed. Whether or not to accept the task. Cheng Xiaoyu was a little surprised. The scene in front of him made him puzzled. I saw a yellow cordon set up around the teleport. The hunters were leisurely making faces. Just wanted to get in. A younger hunter trapped him. It's dangerous here. I learned it from a child. They are all members of the assault team. And only Cheng Xiaoyu and the rich second generation entered the sea-level dungeon. It's about the same as he judged. Cheng Xiaoyu is really the rare chosen son. At this time, Cheng Xiaoyu just happened to attack the dungeon and play the city. Walked out of the portal. He asked the rich second generation, "What's the itinerary for tomorrow's team fight?" She has something to do. Make time for it. The rich second generation told Cheng Xiaoyu. He's got an appointment. If there is an emergency, just cancel it. Once you make an appointment, you will not be able to enter within 2 days. The portal will also disappear. Cheng Xiaoyu felt that the cancellation was a waste of money. Let the rich second generation keep it first. Say hello to Cheng Xiaoyu. The White Tiger Guild is one of the top guilds in the country. Cheng Xiaoyu was invited to the White Tiger Trade Union building. It is proposed to double the employment fee to be built according to the process. Hire an underwriter. Uncle Han felt that it was not enough. I feel like I have the chance to win. After all, such conditions were enough to make 2 months ago. As a first-level Chung Xiao, she was already flattered. And Chung Xiao with the price of the output. But he didn't know. Even if the entire White Tiger building is sold, it will not be enough. Hire Chung Xiaoyan. Because the rich second generation offered him a sky-high price of 200 million. Hear the price. How good he is. We'll make the process construction at such a price. Or without regrading. If it feels like he's bluffing,